Doesn't really make sense why we wear tefillin. I'll read to you what it says at the end of Parashat Bo, which is, by the way, the psukim that we say. There is a minhag, Moroccan minhag, is to say these parashiot before Hashem Melech while you have your tefillin on, which is at the end of this week's parasha. Vaydaber Adonai el Moshe lemor, kadesh li kol bechor petel kol rechem b'bnei Yisrael. Right? 34 on my These are the parashiot that you have written in your tefillin. You have 4 parashiot. Shema Yisrael ve'ahavta et Hashem Elokecha. That's one parasha. Then ve'hayayim shamua tishmeu. That's the second parasha, because in both of those you have about tefillin. Then you have this parasha. This is the third.
A long one.
Yeah. Okay. It's like ve'hayayim shamua.
Your parashat Bo is in your tefillin.
Not the whole parashat Bo. The end of parashat Bo. Aliyah Shivi. You're gonna in the synagogue this week. You'll hear Aliyah Shivi. It says like this: Vehaya lecha leot al yadecha ulezikaron ben einecha leman tiyeh Torat Adonai beficha. Translation: You should have a ot on your hands. You should have a sign on your hands and a remembrance between your eyes, in order so that the Torah of Hashem should be in your mouth. What does A and B have to do with C? Why does tefillin cause that the Torah of Hashem should be on your mouth? I'm not pulling out any other fancy books. The Bible, bestseller. Why does it say that the whole essence of the Torah is so that the whole essence of tefillin is that leman tiyeh Torat Adonai beficha, so that the Torah of Hashem is going to be in your mouth? What does one have to, why? Why through wearing tefillin are you actually going to have the Torah of Hashem with you?
It inspires you. It changes your behavior.
Changes your behavior. Okay.
No?
Fine. Okay, fine.
Also, tefillin is connecting your heart to your head.
Oh, okay.
To your brain.
Okay, so I'm gonna go on that path that Eli said. It's going to have something to do with your
French Mariah.
Oh, here we go again. You see, we've said already, you guys don't want to give it up. The truth is, Max, I think you're in the wrong shul. This is my shul. Max, we never say, look at the forastero, he's coming in now.
You didn't go to his shul. I went to his shul. You didn't go to that.
Max is a brave man. Max doesn't care. He's been used to his whole life. He's the only Shomer Shabbat around. He fights against them. Max is the only right-winger in his office.
That's true.
Is that true? Well,
my whole family, this guy's Benigns.
The Benigns. You want that on tape,
left
right?
wingers, oh my God.
Okay. Well, I'm surprised you came tonight. Obama's giving his State of the Union.
I thought about
He's giving his State of the Union.
He started already. 10 to 9.
Okay.
I'll wait and see what Fox says about it.
Okay, yeah. So, we have to understand these psukim. If we really want to understand what tefillin are about, we have to go to the source, and the source is the Torah. So,
what's the answer?
What's the answer? There's another, the next parasha after that is the fourth one. The fourth one. והיה לאות על ידיך ולטוטפות בין עיניך, כי בחוזק יד הוציאנו אדוני ממצרים. Because Hashem took us out of Egypt. Okay, that also has to be understood.
But if you tell me that the tefillin is in Parashat Bo is before the
Torah was given.
Yeah, before Sinai.
Yeah, because there are certain mitzvot that were already told beforehand. There are certain mitzvot that were told beforehand. Like Brit Milah was said in Parashat Bereshit, in Sefer Bereshit.
Israel was at the lowest level of Tum'ah.
Right.
I mean, at the highest level of Tum'ah.
Right.
Okay, it means very bad. They weren't following anything. Now you're telling them put these straps on your arms.
Because maybe putting the straps on, it was connecting their heart and their mind and saying,
and it might help.
This is hey guys.
But I look at these tefillin today, and they're so complex.
Yeah.
Did they have the equipment to press the leather?
So they didn't have them as nice that we have nowadays. That's the truth. They didn't have them as nice as they have now. Remember the older the way how they looked, like they look all paper like that. Yeah. That's how they would have them. Basically, what would they do? They would take the skin of an animal, and they would somehow shape it. They did have such a thing. They wouldn't make it as thick as we have nowadays, because nowadays we have very strong hydro whatever powered machines that could compress thick skin, thick leather. They had thinner leather, so a lot of times they would have holes in it or whatever. It wouldn't stay as long, but they had the same look and feeling with straps and everything.
Oh, they've definitely evolved, big time.
Yeah,
I've seen tefillin. My dad is a tefillin like this big.
They're small in
Morocco.
Morocco. All the Moroccans had tefillin like that.
yeah. It's harder to be kosher when it's so small because then that means the
It was
shofar has to
$50.
be.
My bar mitzvah tefillin, $50.
I'd like to see what's inside.
Photocopy.
Yeah, that you see that's
I wore them until 4 years ago.
yeah.
Wow.
Baruch
I weren't kosher.
So you got your money's worth out of that $50.
Yeah,
A long way.
for a few years, I didn't wear it at all.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. That's the thing that tefillin have always been around. And some people took advantage of it. They created small tefillin. Now the question is, getting back to our subject. So what is tefillin about? So I want to read to you.
But who commanded tefillin? Hashem?
Hashem.
Hashem said put on tefillin.
Yes.
Hashem wears tefillin.
Vaydaber Adonai Moshe lemor. And you have these
The Bera
parashim.
B'nai Yisrael. Yeah.
Here, and it's written in your tefillin. If you open them up, you'll read them, and we read it right before Hashem Melech every day. Vaydaber Adonai Moshe lemor. Kadesh li kol bechor petek orechem. And then you should have matzot on Yom HaShvi. And then
tefillin?
it's all in the tefillin. Ve'aya lecha le'ot al yadecha u'lezikaron ben einecha. It should
A
be.
sign on your arm.
That's one of the signs of being Jewish.
And a remembrance on your forehead.
It says, and in the next parasha, it says as well. Why does it say it 4 times? It's another thing. Ve'aya le'ot al yadecha u'letotafot ben einecha. What is totafot? In African, totafot means tat means 2, katfi also means 2. So 2 plus 2. So who cares what's written in African, what's to us? So the answer is that the answer is that all the languages came from the Torah. So Rashi is saying if you look at the African, it came originally from the Torah. That's where the word totafot. How do we know what totafot means? Sometimes you have to look at what they learned from you if you forgot already from the original language. So that's the words.
Why would they use African? Why wouldn't they use Aramaic?
Well, that's how the Africans still use the word totafot as 2 and 2. So in the Torah it means 2 and 2, which means 4 parashiot. Totafot means 4 parashiot on your head.
Okay.
Now, what power do tefillin have? Now there's a whole Kabbalistic aspect about every single part of it, how is it has an effect.
Aryeh Kaplan has a good book on it.
Yeah, I want to go on a more basic level, which is the following. What do we mean by Torah? The whole essence of Torah is what was written in the prophet Habakkuk. There was a prophet called Habakkuk. It's a cool name. I don't know why people don't have the name Habakkuk. They're called Isaiah. I never saw somebody named Habakkuk.
So when you start with one of your children, call him Habakkuk.
Thinking about it, I don't think my wife will agree.
I'm sure every father who thought about it had the same issue.
He took all of the different concepts in the Torah and he said it all boils down to one thing. A tzaddik should live in his faith. Tzaddik be'emunato yichyeh. A tzaddik should live in his faith. What does that mean, tzaddik be'emunato yichyeh?
Oh.
What does that mean, tzaddik be'emunato yichyeh? That the whole essence of the Torah is about believing in Hashem. That's what we're all about. We believe in Hashem. Right?
But you know what?
And that's what Torah is about. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We believe in Hashem.
Yes.
There were a lot of things that were given by the rabbis. Well,
Yes.
so do this, don't do that. A lot
Right.
of them by the rabbis.
Right.
Did Hashem really want?
So our belief is like this. There was a fundamental debate in the second temple between the Karaim, the Karaites, and the Jews. The Jews were of the opinion that Hashem, not were of the opinion, our tradition is that Hashem gave us the written law and the oral law.
Okay.
And the Karaites were said there's only the written law.
Okay.
Now, the Karaites did not survive. The Tzadukis did not survive. There's a couple of them who still live in Israel. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
But the Jews survived.
Group of them in Egypt.
Yeah, a lot of them are in Egypt.
Well, they
Yeah.
were. I don't know where they are now, but they were.
I have a database on my computer from the Hebrew University of all the different ketubot, and I have ketubot there in Egypt from Karaite. It's very interesting. They have ketubot and everything. According to, there's a big machloket whether Karaites could be part of the Jewish nation or not.
They're Jewish.
They're definitely Jewish.
They claim to be Jewish.
The question is,
But
can
we
they
can't marry them.
can they marry with us?
Yeah.
So Rav Ovadia Yosef was of the opinion that you're allowed to marry them because they're it's funny, I gave a shir about this last night, that their marriage is not a marriage because they're false witnesses, so therefore they were never married before, so therefore whatever children they had, they're not really mamzerim, because mamzerim is only if you were married and you didn't have a get. Everybody agrees that their gitin, their divorce bills, are not proper divorce bills. The question is, if their marriage is a good marriage, then we're really messed up because they got married. They would leave each other and not have a proper divorce bill, and that means all the kids produced afterwards are mamzerim. So Rav Ovadia Yosef was of the opinion that their marriages are not even marriages. So therefore the kids are not mamzerim, so therefore you can marry them. And the Ashkenazim, Rav Elyashiv and others, didn't permit Karaim to get to be married to Jewish people. Recently, a rabbi that you all know in the city told me that he had such a case that he married a couple in Toronto that the girl was from, or the boy, I don't remember which side, was from a Karaite family. A Karaite family.
Who are these people? They only believe in the written law?
They only believe in the written law.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah, what does that mean?
They believe in the Torah. That's it. No Mishnah, no Gemara, nothing. They believe in the Bible, the bestseller book.
It's written an eye for an eye. If you poke someone else's eye, they'll poke your eye.
So word
It
for
says,
word.
"Ki Hashem Hashem Rofecha," no doctors allowed.
So word for word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why are they not considered Jews? Is
But
what I'm trying to figure
Isn't
out.
that the conservative movement?
Jews, I didn't say they're not Jews. They're not Torah Jews. They're not, because when we say Torah, we mean no. Conservative is something else. Conservative is no. They also believe in the oral laws. They say they believe it. They just say that it can be modified nowadays. Now, you're talking the Reform. Reform doesn't believe that the Torah is Jewish. Now the issue is that by Karaites. No.
I bet you people there wore crosses.
In the Reform
In the Reform synagogue.
The Karaites, though, the Karaites believe that there's no such thing as oral law, which is very difficult to explain many things in the Torah. It says Hashem, take a pri etz hadar. What type of fruit are you supposed to take? There's many instances in the Torah where it is clear from the Torah that there's an explanation. So we have the tradition that Moshe kibel Torah misinai umsara li Yoshua. The first Mishnah in Pirkei Avot, v'Yoshua leskinim v'skinim le'anshei knesset hagdola, and so on and so forth. However, okay, so in the tefilin, in Kriyat Shema, we say like this. Velo taturu achare levavchem ve'achare enechem. Now I want to get to why tefillin is going to be like a Torah Hashem B'Ficha. So number one, Torah is emunah, right? Now, we say in Kriyat Shema, Velo taturu achare levavchem. You shouldn't ve'achare enechem. You shouldn't deviate after your hearts and after your eyes. What does that mean, after your hearts? So Rashi says after your hearts means after heresy. From the heart comes heresy. There was a great Rav that was murdered by the Nazis. His name was Rav Elchanan Wasserman. He was a student of the Chavetz Chaim. You ever heard of him? He was one of the great Torah leaders. As a matter of fact, he traveled to America to raise money for his yeshiva in 1940, and he went to, I think, Yeshiva University or something, and they offered him to stay because already the war started, and if he'd go back, it was pretty much sure that he would die. And he says, I can't leave my students, I can't leave my yeshiva behind, and he went back. Rav Elchanan Wasserman. He wrote a book like this. He wrote a book called Kobetz Ma'amarim about Emunah. And he said like this. It's a mistake to think that Emunah comes from the mind. Belief in Hashem is philosophically thinking. And he says he proves it because Aristotle, which was the greatest of all philosophers, never fully believed in God. Now think about it. If Aristotle, the greatest of philosophers, didn't believe in God, that means his mind didn't really understand God. So if he can't understand God, so how do you expect a little child or every one of us in this room, to believe in Hashem. If Aristotle couldn't do it, so why should we be commanded to do it? He's smarter than us. It seems like, okay, it's not a question, but listen to the answer. You'll understand when you hear the answer, you'll understand what the question really is. He says like this. Emunah, faith, doesn't come from the mind. It's something that's simple in the heart. It's something that's simple in the heart.
Why do you use the word simple?
It's something that's not complicated. It's not a complicated thing. And there's a story like this, that there is a story that Rabbi Akiva once met a heretic. Yeah? So the heretic told him, who created the world? So Rabbi Akiva said, God. So the min said, okay, prove it to me. Hey, you ever had this conversation with people in the office? Prove it to me. So this is what Rabbi Akiva said. Who knitted those beautiful clothes that you're wearing, Max? So you're going to say, the machines, the knitter. Yeah. So Rabbi Akiva said, prove it to me. So Rabbi Akiva told him like this. You know what the answer is? Just like this shirt is a testimony that somebody must have created it, it's a fact, so too this world is a testimony that somebody created it. What was Rabbi Akiva telling him? It's simple. It's ABC. You don't have to you're complicating matters. You don't have to be complicating it. God created the shirt. God created this world. You're able to realize it on your own. Why isn't it that people don't realize it on their own? So let me tell you a story. There was a great Rav. Yeah? We call him Rabbi Chaim. Rabbi Chaim had a student who became off, he went off the... Wayward. He didn't believe in God anymore. So he told Rabbi Chaim, I beg of you, I have a lot of questions, and I want you to answer them for me. So Rabbi Chaim says, there's nothing to talk about. I'm not even going to discuss it with you. He says, but I have all these questions. So he told him like this. Tell me something. When did you have these questions? While you had the Torah, before you started straying? Or once you started straying, you had all these questions? He says, no, I admit it. I started having them after I really started not keeping Torah and mitzvot. So he says, your questions are not really questions. They're answers. Your questions aren't really questions. They're answers. You want to behave a certain way, so you have questions that are really answers. I can't answer you on that. You have your answers already. In other words, what he was telling him was exactly what we're saying over here. Is that if your heart really wants to do something, it'll construe in your mind what you want to think. Emunah is something very clear, very simple, and very straightforward. You go outside, you see trees, you see a world functioning, you see the human brain, you see, if you ever had to experience childbirth, that everything is a miracle from beginning to end. Eric was just telling this to me. Your cousin was just telling this to me, how you see how a baby from beginning to end is born. It's like, it doesn't make sense. The human brain is the most complicated mechanism in the world, much more than any other machines and computers. You're going to say that it just happened just like that. It's common sense. The reason why people don't have the common sense is because their hearts are somewhere else. If your hearts are somewhere else, you'll have all of these type of newfangled type of philosophies and one crazier than the next. I mean, I don't have to tell you how crazy people are in this world right now. You meet people all the time. They're like, it's now there's a rule that people want to lobby that they can marry their dog. You know that?
Well, that's beside. Look what happened in Paris. That's crazy. You know what I mean? Like this different level.
Yeah, but Paris, it's not. I don't know.
They have a situation today that a man that is marrying his daughter. He had relations with his daughter. It's on the news.
A Muslim?
No.
What stops a person from justifying whatever he wants to do? How can you explain a person? Well, you're not supposed to marry your daughter. Why not? I love her.
Well, what about that
If
guy
a person wants to do something, they'll justify. So a guy after the next day, he said he's putting a bill in front of the Congress. He wants to marry his computer. He wants to marry his computer. You heard this? He wants to marry his computer. Why not? Why not? He was making a joke out of it.
Right.
What about that Jew that made a bar mitzvah for his dog? He bought him a $2,000 pair of tefillin. We threw him a $20,000 party, had a horror,
Max.
everything with the dog.
Max,
It's on YouTube.
Max, you're not surprised. In LA, we have this all the time. What are you talking about?
Go on YouTube. Dog bar
Max,
mitzvah.
what YouTube? I used to get newspapers. I could bring them to you about dog mitzvahs.
Dog mitzvah, yeah.
It's all. Tell them that's ma'asim that happens day in day out in LA. And there's dog mitzvahs. Why should you have a bar mitzvah and not your dog? Is it fair? It's not fair.
Oh, it's a liberals.
It's not fair. But the truth is that everything could be justified, explained, according to what a person wants in his heart. But it all starts from the heart. It all starts from the
If
heart.
the heart's in the right place. For somebody who didn't believe,
Mm-hmm.
it's very hard to convince somebody who has no emunah
Mm-hmm.
to convince them that there's,
So what I'm saying is like this.
and go to the example you gave of my, Eric's Annette, right?
Yeah.
It's very hard for her to understand, light a candle in honor of a saint, of a rabbi, and pray for him. She's like, that's whack. Well, when someone who doesn't understand it comes to a Hindu
But they don't want to understand. They don't want to understand. They want to remain ignorant. They're happy with their stupidity.
I disagree because they didn't grow with it. So it's very hard to make that connection.
Fine. I'm not speaking about that.
But they're not
Basic
interested.
emunah. You take a person off the street. Is there a God or is there not a God? Where is it coming from? The mind or the heart? People think that it's the heart, the mind. That's what I would say. So Rabbi Lebhar is teaching us it's not the mind, it's the heart. And therefore, the purpose of tefillin is like this. Look at this beautiful explanation. When Bilam tried to curse the Jews, so it's written in Tosfot that he was trying to find the exact moment. What was that exact moment? There was an exact moment that it was written, Kalem, destroy the Jewish people, Kalem. Kalem is Chaf, Lamed Mem. And God changed it and made it to Melech, which is why why Bilam said, Utruat Melech Bo. And the echoes of the king is with him. Melech is the opposite of Kalem. Mem, Lamed, Chaf. Instead of Kaf, Lamed, Mem. You read it the other way around, it's Melech. The deeper explanation to this is that there are 3 organs in the human body that have the most influence on it. There is the kaved, which is the liver, the lev, which is the heart, and the moach, which is the brain. So the tefillin are supposed to, a healthy person is that his brain is going to understand Hashem properly, and his heart will be full of joy, and it'll go to his liver, and his body will act. But if a person doesn't have proper thoughts, it starts with his action. His body wants to do things, so it influences his heart, and his heart is going to influence his mind. It's going to be kalem, from the kaved to the lev to the moach. It's going to work and that's going to stray him to the wrong path. But if a person works on that it should be in the right order, which is tefillin, his tefillin is going to be with his head and his mind and his heart, and it's going to connect him and make his body, his liver, in other words, his body. I don't know why specifically the liver. That's what it says. I don't exactly know why, but in the liver, it's gonna put the whole body in sync. Then he's gonna have Torah Hashem beficha. That's how. Then the words of Hashem will be on your mouth. If you put on tefillin, you're syncing. Sometimes you have to sync your contacts on the computer so that you make sure you have everything is in touch, or refresh the computer. When you're putting on tefillin, you're refreshing your body. You're refreshing your heart. Should be in sync with your mind. Not that your heart should influence your mind, all types of crazy things and answers to questions why you don't want to do things.
So Rabbi, by your reasoning, you should be putting tefillin shel rosh first, then tefillin shel yad.
Truth is, tefillin shel rosh are more important than tefillin shel yad according to some opinions. It's just that because of a bracha, that's why you do it. I don't know if that makes a difference. I don't really know if that makes a difference. Like, I was amazed. People, just look at a crazy world we're living. We're living in a crazy world. We have ISIS on our backs. We have France that is, people are deciding whether France is a safe country or not. We have North Korea. We have killings. We had a lot of car robberies today in Toronto. What? Yeah, 5 this morning in Toronto. We had, wait. We had,
Really?
we had, what did we have? What?
Iran.
We had Iran. And when Indonesia found out why the plane, a lot of important stories. I got in the car today, 8:30 in the morning, driving my kids. There was 680 News on. Top story! The Leafs lost 5 straight.
Oh, that's so sad.
Top story! I said, what, are you serious? That's the worst thing that's going on right now in Toronto?
Yeah, thank God.
I enjoy.
I'll take that.
I enjoy seeing. I enjoy the athletes and seeing it. It's all a nice thing, but perspective a little bit about what's important, what's not important.
The problem is everything else on the other side is all depressing.
I understand.
So you know what? For them to break.
No, this is more depressing. I'm sorry. Eli, this is more depressing. The guy was saying that this is the darkest day of the year, January 21st. It's the middle of the winter, and it's colder, and your New Year's resolution are gone. And if you want to make sure that it's not going to be a bad day, don't watch the Leafs. And they're all depressed by it. Don't tell me it's going to take. So maybe it's an escape from reality. It's an escape from reality.
I took the Leafs to win the cup.
Garbage.
If you see what's going on in Israel today, Israel is moving all their troops to the Golan. We killed the Iranian major general.
Hezbollah.
Yeah.
We killed 5 whatever they call the
31, what is
presidential guard of Iran.
Yeah.
So Israel's moving batteries into quick.
Garbage.
And what did Iran say today?
You buy any other one?
You will pay.
This is for a joke.
I just want to say that I understand it's a distraction and people are very into it. It's good that people are into sports and not to other things. Don't get me wrong. It could be much worse if they're into other things. What I'm saying is that a person has to always remain with this sanity that, let's have perspective in mind. There are things that are more important than next and not lose, because it starts with the Leafs. But then it starts with the Leafs, but it gets into worse things. That a person starts thinking that maybe, these marriages are okay, and maybe it's not so bad marrying Jew and non-Jew, maybe it's not marrying your dog, and then it gets all things, because tefilin sinks the heart and the mind. That the mind should think healthy because the heart is healthy. If the heart is healthy, the mind is healthy.
And that's the problem. People that don't put on tefillin, they're into golf, they're into sports, boherias.
Oh, what's wrong with golf? I like golf.
You talk about it all day.
There's nothing wrong with having an outlet as long as you understand what's an outlet and what's important in life.
Spend
That's all.
$300 on a ball. They won't spend $50 on a book.
Max, that's why we love when you come here. You give us the fresh perspective.
Well, if you want the truth, if you want the lie, I'm sorry.